It's exactly 6 p.m. here in Cairo, time for Channel 2 English News. President Fattah al-Sisi returns to Egypt after participating in the emergency Arab Islamic Summit in Doha. Prime Minister Mustafa Madbouli meets Deputy Prime Minister of the Russian Federation, Alexei Overchuk. And 40 people killed, most in Gaza City, as Israeli airstrike sweeps across the city. President Fattah al-Sisi returned to Egypt after participating in the emergency Arab Islamic Summit in Doha to discuss Israeli occupation attack on the state of Qatar. Addressing the summit, President al-Sisi expressed Egypt's full solidarity with Qatar and its sovereignty following Israeli occupation forces' attack against the Arab state. The president described the unprecedented attack as a violation of Arab national security, warning of Israeli aggressive actions that could escalate the conflict. President al-Sisi added that Israeli actions in the Gaza Strip and elsewhere aim to foil attempts for peaceful settlements in the region, asserting that Egypt will continue its fixed support to Palestinians' steadfastness against relocation attempts. Prime Minister Madbouli attended a celebration marking the foundation of an international academy for architecture and urbanism. The academy is the offshoot of Egyptian-French cooperation with the National School in Grenoble in France. The founding of the academy in Egypt comes within the framework of partnerships with a number of niche higher schools and global universities in the field of architecture, planning and urban development. The academy offers dual degrees for bachelor's and master's students and professional certificates in sub-specializations, including digital architecture, production, and construction technology. Prime Minister Mustafa Madbouli hailed the Egyptian-Russian ongoing cooperation in various fields and expressed appreciation to host the second ministerial conference of the Russia-Africa Partnership Forum in November 2025, which would strengthen the tripartite partnership and cooperation between Egypt and Russia. The Prime Minister's remarks came during his meeting on Tuesday with Deputy Prime Minister of the Russian Federation, Alexei Overchuk, at the Cabinet's headquarters in the new administrative capital. The meeting focused on ways to enhance and develop joint cooperation between Cairo and Moscow, building on the outcomes of bilateral talks held between President Fattah al-Sisi and Russian President Vladimir Putin during Victory Day celebrations last May. Foreign Minister Badr Abdulati met on Tuesday with Deputy Prime Minister of the Russian Federation, Alexei Overchuk, where they discussed ways of expanding cooperation on strategic projects, including the بعام nuclear power plant and the planned Russian industrial zone in the Suez Canal economic zone. During the meeting, Abdulati said that Egypt is committed to accelerating the implementation of joint projects, adding that Cairo would provide all facilitations to ensure their success. The foreign minister also welcomes recent rebound in Russian tourism to Egypt, noting that it supports a vital sector while strengthening cultural and joint ties. For his part, the Russian official called for closer coordination between Russian and Egyptian authorities to attract investors and establish long-term supply chains. And Chief of Staff of the Armed Forces, Lieutenant General Ahmed Khalifa, met on Tuesday in Cairo with the Chief of the General Staff of the Libyan National Army, Lieutenant General Khalid Haftar, to discuss ways of enhancing military and security cooperation. Talks focused on strengthening coordination and joint efforts to address shared security challenges. During the meeting, Khalifa underscored the historic ties between Egypt and Libya, stressing the importance of continued coordination to safeguard security and stability across Libyan territory. For his part, Haftar expressed appreciation for Egypt's long-standing support for the Libyan people and voiced hope for expanding cooperation between the two militaries in the coming period. And the Gaza health officials reported at least 40 people killed, most in Gaza City, in the assault's early hours on Tuesday as airstrikes swept across the city and tanks advanced, where a missile had destroyed two multi-story residential buildings in the middle of the night. People clambered over an immense mound of dislocated concrete to pry out victims. This came as an Israel Defense Forces official said ground troops were moving deeper into the enclave's main city, and that the number of soldiers would rise in the coming days to confront up to 3,000, most in Gaza City, as the Israeli occupation airstrike sweeps across Gaza. The 38th humanitarian trucks Zaid al-Izza convoy began entering Gaza Tuesday through a side gate at the Rafah border terminal heading to Karam Abu Salim crossing. The convoy set off carrying food supplies, including as well as medicines and medical supplies. The aid convoy reflects Egypt's steadfast commitment to standing by the Palestinian people and alleviating their sufferings. The United Arab Emirates Hamdan humanitarian ship has arrived at Al Arish Airport in Egypt under Operation Chivalrous Night 3, reaffirming UAE's ongoing humanitarian commitment to the Palestinian people. Departing from Khalifa Port on the 30th of August, the ship was loaded with 7,000 tons of food, medical supplies, and relief aid for Gaza Strip to provide urgent support to Palestinian people. Since the launch of Operation Night 3, the UAE has delivered approximately 90,000 tons of humanitarian aid to Gaza. And the U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio offered apparent backing for Israeli government's decision to abandon ceasefire talks and use force, warning Hamas that only days may be left for a diplomatic solution. Rubio said that while the United States wish to see diplomatic end to the war, they have to be prepared for the possibility that is not going to happen, as Israel demands that Hamas surrender its weapons and free all remaining hostages at once as the only way to end the war. And the UN rights chief on Tuesday condemned Israel's occupation ground assault on Gaza City as utterly unacceptable, demanding an end to the carnage and warning of growing evidence of genocide in the Palestinian territory. United Nations High Commissioner for Human Rights Volker Turk said the whole world screams for peace. He decried in particular the ongoing bombardment of residential buildings that have served as shelters for people who have been displaced multiple times. The UN rights chief stressed that the people of Gaza cannot sustain yet another intensification of violence and destruction and killings and lack of humanitarian assistance that needs to come. Turk's comments came after an independent team of UN investigators published a report concluding that Israel was committing genocide in its war in Gaza. And the Israeli occupation military warned on Tuesday it was poised to strike Houthi-held Yemen port of Hodeidah, urging people and ships in the area to evacuate immediately. The Israeli military said earlier it had intercepted a missile fired from Yemen a day after Israeli forces carried out airstrikes that the Houthis said killed 46 people and wounded more than 160. The Houthis' caretaker prime minister vowed to keep fighting Israel despite recent strikes near Sana'a that killed his predecessor and nearly half of his cabinet. And the UN Atomic Watchdog Chief called for the implementation of cooperation framework it struck last week with Iran, saying it was essential to restore confidence after the agency's work was halted. Iran agreed to the deal with the International Atomic Energy Agency after it suspended cooperation following its war with Israel in June. Addressing the opening day of the agency's annual General Conference, IAEA Chief Rafael Grossi said it was now to implement the deal to restore confidence and allow the agency to continue work in spite of all these difficulties. Tehran has said the new framework grants access to UN nuclear inspectors only after approval by Supreme National Security Council, Iran's top security body. And the Ukrainian officials said on Tuesday that Russian forces bombarded the southern Ukrainian city of Zaporizhzhia with rockets overnight, wounding 13 people, including 2 children. The regional head said the Russian barrage struck more than 20 apartment buildings, starting fires. Details follow.
As Moscow presses forward with its over 3-year military operation, strikes in Ukraine killed 2 and wounded at least 9 others. Ukrainian officials made the announcement on Tuesday, quoting Ivan Fedorov, the head of the military administration in southeastern Ukraine's Zaporizhzhia region. Meanwhile, governor of the southern Mykolaiv region, Vitaly Kim, said that Russian troops had attacked an area in the region. Hopes of reaching a truce in the conflict had dimmed since U.S. President Donald Trump held high-profile talks separately with his Russian counterpart Vladimir Putin and Ukrainian Volodymyr Zelensky last month. Tensions have risen further since 2 NATO members, Poland and Romania, accused Russia of sending drones into their airspace. As part of its attacks on Ukraine, the alleged incursions prompted both countries to scramble fighter jets and Poland to close its border with Belarus, while Minsk held military drills alongside Russian troops. Moscow has brushed off the accusations, saying neither Poland nor Romania have presented convincing evidence that the drones were Russian, and calling the latter incident a provocation by Ukraine.
And the Minister of Planning, Economic Development and International Cooperation, Rania Al-Mashad, discussed with Board of Directors of SCATEC Norway means of boosting mutual cooperation between Egypt and Norway. Al-Mashad asserted that partnership with the company enhances active cooperation between both public and private sectors. A development partner, Al-Mashad, pointed that scant investment package reached $3.6 billion, included in the Energy Access of Novi program. And the Minister of Electricity and Renewable Energy, Mahmoud Al-Smat, asserted the usage of atomic energy is a genuine right of all countries, and the Egyptian nuclear program is committed to use the highest standards of security and safety, pointing that Egypt became a regional hub of supporting the nuclear safety. This came in his speech before the 69th round of the IAEA, as he reiterated that Egypt is keen on applying its cadres, capabilities and research centers in supporting peaceful usage in cooperation with the IAEA. And Egypt's stock market indices went down at the close on Tuesday, affected by selling operations by local corporations, Egyptian and Arab investors, while Arab and foreign corporations and foreign investors went into purchasing operations. Capital market for companies in the Bourse lost about £23 billion, reaching £2,884 billion. Benchmark EGX 30 index went down by 0.29% to end the dealings at 04843.28 points. The equal weight index EGX 70 declined by 2.55%, reaching 19,501.1 points, while the more expanded EGX 100 index edged lower by about 2.91%. And Real Madrid began their bid for a record-extending 16th European Cup on Tuesday at 10 p.m. Cairo local time at home to Olympique de Marseille, with coach Xabi Alonso insisting Kylian Mbappé is not impatient to win the trophy and is valued as one of the leaders in the team. The 26-year-old striker who helped France lift the 2018 World Cup and reach 2022 final has won 7 League One titles and multiple individual accolades, but is still chasing an elusive Champions League crown. And Athletic Bilbao captain Inaki Williams said his team have no fear ahead of the Champions League opener against Premier League giants Arsenal on Tuesday at 8:45 Cairo local time. The Basque side, who only employ players born in the region, are back in Europe's top competition for the first time since 2014, having qualified for only the third occasion in their history. Ghana international Williams said the squad were thrilled to be back among the elite. Athletic coach Ernesto Valverde hailed his Arsenal counterpart Mikel Arteta ahead of the game. Well, dear viewers, that's all for Channel 2 English News. Thank you for watching.